This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather Ho, there. It's Jeff Cutter Diving, welcoming you to another sports catastrophe on this day. And on this day, May the 16th, 1985, one of the highest scoring tournaments or series in NHL history ended. The Edmonton Oilers defeated the Chicago Blackhawks in Chicago to go on to the Stanley Cup Finals. On the same day, Philadelphia took care of Quebec 3-0 to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals. So it would be a Flyers-Oilers Stanley Cup that saw the Oilers beat the Flyers in 5 games. But this is not what we're talking about. It is the conference final between the Edmonton Oilers and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Edmonton Oilers were hot off a pair of sweeps. They swept Los Angeles in the first round in 3 games. Mind you, best of 5 first round till 87 when they made it best of 7. And then they swept the Winnipeg Jets 4-0. So Edmonton was 7-0 in the playoffs. Of course, that 85 playoff was when Gretzky scored a hat trick in which he comically missed an empty net, but he still got it back for that goal. Whereas Chicago was the number 2 seed in the North Division. Somehow St. Louis winning the North didn't work out for them. St. Louis got swept. Chicago swept Detroit, and Chicago took on Minnesota. That series, that division final, was basically when Daryl Sutter scored a pair of key overtime goals, and the Blackhawks in Minnesota won those games. So it was Blackhawks-Oilers in the Stanley Cup semifinals. Quebec tried to handle Philadelphia. It was 2-2, but Philadelphia won the next 2. But this was big. In 1983, these two teams met for the conference final. And so the Oilers sweep the Blackhawks. So everyone's thinking, well, the Oilers are going to sweep the Hawks. And, well, if you look at the first few games, it's like, well, it's over. Edmonton's got everything going. Anyway. The Oilers crushed Chicago Divide Powder 11-2, scoring 7 on Murray Bannerman and 4 on Warren Skorodenski. The Oilers got goals by Glenn Anderson, then Charlie Huddy, Paul Coffey, Yuri Curry, Mark Napier, Curry again, Huddy again, Willie Lindstrom, Wayne Gretzky, Pat Hughes, and Glenn Anderson again. Blackhawks did score a pair with Ken Yarmarchuk and Troy Murray, but 11-2. Well, everyone thought this was over. In Game 2, the Oilers showed Chicago no mercy, taking down Bannerman 7-3. Anderson, Curry, Lurie Melnick scoring a goal. Yari Curry again, Coffey, Curry with the hat trick, and Glenn Anderson with 2. So Curry with 3, Glenn Anderson with 2. Blackhawks scored with Bob Murray, Daryl Sutter, and Ben Wilson. Ben being B-E-H-N. And a former member of the 1980 Flyers, if that excuse me right. So you had 23 goals in the first 2 games. Amazing, that's 10 goals a game. In Game 3, it actually was less. 7 goals, so that brought it up to 30. Still, 10 goals a game, that's amazing. And guess what else was amazing? Murray Bannerman was amazing as the Blackhawks beat the Oilers 5-2 to cut the series deficit down to 2-1. Not only that, they freaking stopped Edmonton's winning streak. Edmonton had won 9 straight playoff games to that point. Yeah, Edmonton scored with Messier and Yaroslav Pulsar. Chicago scored 5 goals. Jack Callahan, Steve Larmer, Daryl Sutter, Denny Savard, and Troy Murray. And then in Game 4, the goals were flying. So 14 goals meant that 44 goals were scored in the first 4 games. So that makes it 11. Grant Fuhr was pathetic, giving up 8 goals. They even went with Andy Bogue for 1 save. Murray Bannerman in net for the Blackhawks. Hawks won 8-6. It was a tight game. Daryl Sutter, Eddie Ostrak, Denny Savard, Kurt Fraser, Al Secord, Steve Larmer, Larmer again, and Bob Murray scoring. So 7 different goal scorers for the Hawks. Edmonton had Gretzky, Messier, Pulsar, Lindstrom, Anderson, and Messier. So it looked like This would be a home team series. Chicago would probably force game 7. Well, Edmonton and Chicago combined for 15 goals in game number 5. So that made it 59 goals in 5 games. Oilers crushed Chicago 10-5, and somehow Chicago decided to keep Bannerman in for their game instead of going with Kordansky or whatever his name is pronounced. I apologize. But the Oilers win 10-5. Mike Krushelewski, Yuri Curry, Mark Messier, Wayne Gretzky, Curry with the hat trick, Coffey, Dave Hunter, and Lee Fogelin. So Curry with another hat trick. The Hawks scored 5 goals themselves, 2 goals by Daryl Sutter, 1 from Steve Larmer, 1 from Troy Murray, and 1 from Danny Savard. And then game 6 happened. The Oilers crushed Chicago 8-2 in Chicago. I thought Chicago would have forced a game 7. Grant Fuhr had a great bounce back. The Oilers scored the first 6 goals. Yuri Curry, then Messier again, Curry scoring, Fogelin, and then Curry shorthanded for his third hat trick against the Blackhawks. Yeah, LC Cord and Kenyon Yarmchuk scored, made it 6-2, but it was too little too late. Glenn Anderson scored again. And Yuri Curry put up his 4th goal, making him 18 goals. Can you believe it? You scored 18 goals in one postseason. And all that. You have to be scoring a goal a game. Not even this era, the 2020s, can you compare it? But remember, the 1980s were more offensively put, and the neutral zone trap was not invented yet. So Edmonton won the series. They scored the most goals in one series by one team, most goals in a 6-game series combined. And both clubs set records for total goals in the semifinals and one 6-game series. Curry scored 3 hat tricks in the series. That has never been done before or since. And I know you don't want to hear this, but I'm going to say this. Alright, so game 1 had 13 goals. Game 2 had 10. Game 3 had 7. Game 4 had 14. Game 5 had 15. And Game 6 had 10. Add those all up and you get the magical number. And stop giggling. It's 69. I kid you not. That is the record. 69 goals in 6 games. That's 11 and a half goals per game on average. Can you imagine? It's hard to get a playoff game with 11 goals. Most of them are like 4-2 or like 6 or 7. But 11 and a half? Holy crap. But that's what happened. The Oilers went on to beat the Flyers in 5 games in the Stanley Cup Finals, showing how dominant they were. And the Blackhawks would lick their wounds. Ironically enough, 7 months later, the Blackhawks and Oilers would face each other in another goal fest in Chicago, with the final score being 12-9, making it the highest scoring game in NHL history, both modern and otherwise. So yeah, these two teams really like to score each other. I mean, Grant Fuhr's a good goalie, and so was Mary Bannerman, but still, makes you think. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond, I do.